Hi Pisces, I'm Jenny Fitterer and welcome to your January Tarotscope. So I have a single card for you for the month of January. The first 2/3 of the month is Capricorn season, and then we will be rolling into Aquarius towards the end of the month. And the card for you is the Nine of Wands. So this is the way he looks. So we have this kind of autumn forest scene, and there's this man and he's kind of walking through the woods, and down here we have this kind of green webbed man shape, kind of amphibious thing at the bottom there. Lots of autumn leaves, and all of these wands are kind of looking like the trees in the forest. Okay, so we're gonna see what the Nine of Wands has for you this month. Okay, Nine of Wands, stalking. This card is a symbol of searching, of awareness, and of intuitive perception. Many things are growing, see the Nine Wands, and changing, see the autumn scene. Like a hunter stalking his prey or a scout exploring the way, you need to be intuitively alert and vigilant. Naturally, this card is not about the actual hunter or scout as a profession. It is a symbol of heightened awareness as a personal way of being. If your perception has been heightened, you will be better able to understand the motives and hidden interests behind certain actions. Thus, you will be able to discover the green man in the woods. This figure appears in many traditions. He symbolizes nature around us and within. Dali depicts his green man with frog's feet, thus making him an amphibious creature living between water and earth. He reaches out to the stalking hunter. On the one hand, this card shows us the final goal of all our searching. Intuition and awareness are the path as well as the destination, the journey as well as the reward. Sometimes we get lost in routine and repetition. We fail to perceive the great mystery that is awaiting us. On the other hand, this card encourages us to say goodbye to the uncivilized life of a semi-barbarian. Intuition and awareness serve to overcome certain primal fears. Let go of redundant instincts and presumptions. Trust your actual perceptions and learn from all experiences. Practical advice. Your actual situation challenges you to become more vital and to live life to the fullest. Abandon your old fears and fulfill your most important wishes. Activate your senses. Learn to recognize outdated habits. Okay, Pisces. So this card is... So it's a fire card. Wands are fire card, and so fire is very much about intuition, instinct, inspiration, and it's your kind of opposite element. Pisces is being a water sign, so there's whenever there's kind of the fire and water that kind of comes together, we can either have this tendency to they smother each other. The water just puts out the fire. It's not so good. Or they can really come together and produce a lot. Like when fire and water comes together, that creates steam, which is a very big power source. It pushes outward. It's part of our whole technological innovations was the steam age. We realized we could harness fire and water to create a force that pushes and that can be utilized. So this is kind of like, a great sort of energy that you can bring in to kind of push you if you have a particular goal in mind. That sort of fire water energy can come together as steam, as momentum to put something into action, but you kind of have to be clear what it is you want. Steam can just be wasted if it isn't actually harnessed. So what is it that you are trying to do? What is it that you are trying to achieve, wherein you can kind of create this? But this card is also, it's all about perception. We're talking about stalking and this whole being in this kind of primal state where we're very, very attuned to the present moment, and all of our senses and our primal instincts are heightened in order to kind of navigate that woodscape, to be in that kind of heightened stage. So, which doesn't really feel like that fits into the whole idea of like thinking about what I want and goal building and harnessing this kind of push of energy. They seem like kind of, well, are we in the present and being in our primal nature? Or are we planning and rational and thinking about our goals? Like, what kind of is it? And the difficult thing that is often the case is that multiple things can be true at the same time. And it can be easy to just want to like click into rational, get it done mode, or to like click into more intuitive, perceptive, ethereal mode. And a lot of the time, even the way we can talk about like right brain, left brain is this division, this like you're either one or the other. You're either intuitive or you're really rational. You're either in a creative state or you're in a logical mind. And I think that it really kind of does us a disservice to always be looking at things in that separated binary instead of thinking how like you can do both. How can you take your present primal intuitive perceptive nature and marry that to kind of your more long-term visioning, your long-term planning, and how can they inform each other? Or maybe that looks like if you have your long-term planning kind of set and you've got your goals and you've created a kind of structure that allows you to let go of fears about the future or hypervigilance about the past, that allows you to land into that kind of more primal in the now moment kind of safely. So those all kind of relate to each other. This card, I mean, unfortunately, it's not giving me a clear read to be like, Pisces, this is what you should do this month. It's more that kind of theme to be exploring. And because we're in Capricorn energy for the first 2/3 of the month, Capricorn is definitely about goal setting and manifesting, but specifically, sorry, excuse me, I had to burp there, the foundational level of goal planning. So it's not just the like, we can think about Capricorn season as this like go-getter or this like, workaholic to the top. But what really it is what's my foundation? How can I make sure that my foundation is really solid? Getting back to the roots of things, trying to make sure, do I have integrity in my foundation? Is it stable so that then I can build on top of that towards my goal? So it's very much I for the future. What's the goal? What am I trying to build or get to? But the effort right now isn't so, and jump straight into it. We can think a lot of times New Year's resolutions as like what's the path and what's the goal, and I'm just going to get there. And we don't really think about, do I have the resources for this to be long lasting? I mean, it's a famous thing that people hit their resolutions hard and then they drop off. And a lot of that is because this is a good time for roots. This is a great time for foundation rather than extreme growth and achievement. We're still, I mean, certainly if you're in the Northern Hemisphere with me here, this is a deep winter stage where it's more about digging into the roots to make sure we have a foundation and the nutrition we need so that sustainably, say when springtime comes and the energy is towards growth, it's a sustainable growth instead of just like a quick flash and then collapse. So that Capricorn energy is really kind of saying, can you land into what your goal, like, can you keep an eye on what your goals are, but we're looking at the foundation and trying to, it's more of that planning stage, making sure also that it's even what you want, like that, are you in integrity with what your goals are? And then, so this is, so that's sort of what we're looking at for the Capricorn season opportunity. This card even says sometimes we can get lost in routine and repetition. So even the idea of, New Year's, got to make some new plans, or, I've got to be in achieving like my routine, or I have this expectation or a habit. And this is a great time to examine your habits, especially at the beginning, or a good chunk of January is going to be Mercury retrograde still. So retrogrades and Mars in retrograde as well for the first half of the month. So retrogrades are more of a reflect. Don't go so like jump right in. Really think about that foundation and kind of check through, are things that I've like do a little reshuffle, like are the things that were important to me still important to me? So this is a really great time for definitely this first kind of bit of January to kind of really go slow, be really trying to tune into what are your dreams. And Pisces, one of your strengths is often the dreamer. All in the dream land, not always so good at the manifesting land. And that might also be because if you just have a dream and then you think that you have to just go and achieve it right away and that falls apart, like connecting and grounding your dream to a foundation of possibility and sustainability is going to make it so much more possible to actually have some long-term progress on that. So this beginning of the month, great time to be thinking about your dreams and building that foundation. And then we're going to be in Aquarius season towards the end of the month. And Aquarius season, it's an air sign, so it's much more about the thinking and the rational aspect and kind of the logistics in a lot of ways. But it also has this element of breaking free from the norm and going beyond the box. And so, but we need to build the function first, and then we can go beyond it. So we can often just go straight to the big dream, and it's just undoable. So first we do Capricorn, we build a structure, we build a base, and then we can say, and I don't have to just stay here in the space. I can go bigger. I can go higher. I can launch further, but I can only launch because I had a stable ground to jump on. Like you think when you jump, if you try to jump on sand, not a lot of foundation, you don't get very high. If you find strong surface to launch off of, you have that momentum to kind of push, thinking again of that sort of steam energy. You have to have something for the steam to push against. If there's no foundation or no structure, it just dissipates. So that's kind of what we're looking at for you, Pisces, this first 2/3 of the month in Capricorn season, thinking of your goals, building a foundation of integrity that's going to give you a launch pad. And then in the second the last third of the month in Aquarius season, when we really suddenly want to be able to launch our ideas higher, we are launching off of a foundation instead of just sort of having a kind of failed launch. So that's what's coming up for you this month. My Capricorn Pay What You Can season forecast is up and available on the YouTube channel. So if you want a little bit more information, especially about those retrogrades that are still happening right now, that would be a great place to look. Otherwise, best of luck for you this January, Pisces, and I will see you next month.